Good evening and welcome back to the channel tonight. This is not going to be some long podcast or anything like that. As you can tell by the title, I'll be talking about shoes. As you can tell by the picture, I'll be talking about shoes. You know, we as Christians, and I don't like to include myself in this, but born again Christians, or those who claim to be so, Christians who claim to be so, because there's a difference between a born again Christian, excuse me, and secular Christians. I always say that, and there is a huge difference. But there are folks, and I don't want to get mad at anyone. I don't want to say they're horrible people, but there are people who keep a hold on the rituals and things they've once did, and somehow have not gotten rid of them. And that tells me they're on more of the novice side. You know, there are some Christians in the world today who take their shoes off when they pray. Without doing a deeper study, although I did one on the Theosophical Society, so with New Age and so forth, a while back. But New Agers are famous for taking off their shoes. People who dabble in that type of stuff, New Age and witchcraft, they take off their shoes when they enter a space. Why do the New Age take off their shoes before they go into that space? Interestingly enough, you know who else does that? The Muslims, the Hindus, and other Far East religions, along with the New Agers. The New Agers believe you should create a sacred space, very common in New Age, which they derive their beliefs from the Far East religions. I can't help but look at the screen and see these sandals. Imagine if we tried to wear these sandals today. You see, in the New Age, removing shoes symbolizes a sacred ritualistic space. Being barefoot keeps you grounded to Mother Earth. And when you pray, when you kneel down to pray in front of a direction, even an altar, anything small, you have to focus, visualize, be in tune with the spirit within, and reflect while perhaps candles are lit, or maybe soft music. Please tell me in the Bible, or tell me from a biblical point of view, because you're not Moses or even Joshua. Why do we take our shoes off to pray? I don't. I wonder if your prayers, when you're barefoot, do they have more weight than others who are not barefoot? And if not, then why are you barefoot? See, this is a creation that you've gone along with, not that you created yourself, whoever takes their shoes off, but you follow a ritual. But Moses did. Joshua, please understand the difference between the Old Testament and New Testament, what is and what was. I always say you can't have the New Testament without the Old Testament. The Old Testament is like the foundation of the house that you live in, which is the New Testament. In Matthew chapter 6, verse 5, it does say, what? And when thou prayest, thou shalt not be as the hypocrites are. For they love to pray standing in the synagogues and in the corner of the streets, that there may be seen in men. Verily, I say unto you, they have their reward. Now, number one, discussing public situation, the way you pray, where you pray, how you pray, should have been left private. The next verse, but thou, when thou prayest, enter into thy closet, and when thou hast shut thy door, pray to thy Father which is in secret. And thy Father which seeth in secret shall reward thee openly. But when ye pray, use not vain repetitions, as the heathen do, for they think that they shall be heard for their much speaking. But nowhere does it say take off your shoes. Am I condemning everyone who takes off their shoes? No, I'm not condemning anyone. But I will say, when you hold on to these New Age rituals and you claim that you may be born again, did you clearly leave the old? Did you really leave the old and enter into the new? Now, I know there are things that people still hang on to, not by choice. There are things that they slowly cut away from their lives. And there are others who change overnight and are completely different. But if you ask this simple guy, yeah, you should not be taking off your shoes to pray. That is a New Age ritual. And it's from the Far East, which they do it still today. And if you are practicing this, I would suggest to run away. I think I just rhymed that. I didn't mean to do that. I just did it again. There will be those who disagree with me, but it's a sacred ground. It's a holy ground. Read Moses. Don't you know your Bible? That's the comeback. There are other places too, I know. But read them in context, in who they speak to, and how they speak. Where are we now? But what about the cultures like the Japanese? You take off your shoes when you enter their house. Yeah, because that's their holy ground, their sacred ground. No, it's a term of respect. So is it respect or holy ground? See, we start getting down a rabbit trail, don't we? That's my opinion on the shoes being taken off while pray and facing directions. It's all New Age stuff. Well, God bless and have a beautiful evening.